Canada, a nation renowned for its peacekeeping efforts and international cooperation, has often grappled with a recurring challenge throughout its history: military unpreparedness. This essay delves into the price of unpreparedness, examining specific instances where Canada's military readiness fell short of the mark. It explores the impact of inadequate equipment on Canadian troops, particularly in the context of the Afghanistan conflict. Furthermore, it highlights the urgent need for increased military spending and a robust defense posture in the face of evolving global threats. The history of warfare is replete with examples of nations caught off guard, ill-equipped to face the challenges posed by unforeseen conflicts. Canada, despite its peaceful reputation, is no stranger to this phenomenon. From the battlefields of Europe to the mountains of Afghanistan, Canadian soldiers have often been sent into harm's way with inadequate resources and support. This recurring theme of unpreparedness has had profound consequences, not only for the brave men and women in uniform, but also for Canada's standing on the world stage. The consequences of military unpreparedness extend far beyond the immediate costs of war. A lack of readiness can embolden adversaries, making conflict more likely. It can also undermine alliances as partners lose faith in a nation's ability to contribute to collective security. Moreover, the economic and social costs of unpreparedness can be substantial, as governments are forced to make difficult choices between defense spending and other priorities. While Canada has a long and proud military history, it is essential to acknowledge and learn from past mistakes. By understanding the price of unpreparedness, we can better equip ourselves to face the challenges of an increasingly uncertain world. The time for complacency is over. Canada must prioritize its military readiness to protect its interests at home and abroad. The year 1914 marked the outbreak of the First World War, a conflict that exposed the fragility of peace and the unpreparedness of many nations, including Canada. At the time, Canada's military was a small, primarily militia-based force, ill-equipped for the scale and intensity of modern warfare. Similarly, the outbreak of the Second World War in 1939 found Canada once again caught in a cycle of unpreparedness. While steps had been taken to modernize and expand the military. Following the First World War, Canada entered the conflict with significant deficiencies in equipment and training. The end of the Second World War ushered in the Cold War, a period of geopolitical tension that demanded a reassessment of Canada's defense priorities. The Korean War, which began in 1950, underscored the importance of maintaining a capable and well-equipped military force even in peacetime. Canada's participation in the Korean War, while demonstrating its commitment to international security, also exposed vulnerabilities in its military readiness. The need for modernization and a shift towards a more professional standing army became increasingly apparent. The turn of the 21st century brought about new security challenges, most notably the rise of global terrorism. The 9/11 attacks on the United States in 2001 served as a stark reminder of the evolving nature of warfare and the need for adaptability in defense planning. Canada's subsequent involvement in Afghanistan further exposed gaps in its military capabilities, particularly in terms of equipment and resources. The harsh realities of fighting in a rugged, landlocked country against a determined insurgency highlighted the importance of specialized training, appropriate equipment, and adequate logistical support. The human cost of military unpreparedness is perhaps its most tragic aspect. Sending soldiers into battle with inadequate equipment is not only strategically unsound, it is morally reprehensible. It demonstrates a disregard for the well-being of those who risk their lives in service to their country. The Afghanistan conflict in particular brought the issue of equipment shortages into sharp focus. Canadian troops operating in a challenging and dangerous environment often found themselves lacking essential equipment, from reliable helicopters to adequate armored vehicles. This lack of preparedness had a direct impact on their ability to conduct operations effectively, and more importantly, to protect themselves from harm. The consequences of inadequate equipment are manifold. It can lead to increased casualties, both from enemy action and from accidents caused by faulty or outdated gear. It can also undermine morale as soldiers lose faith in their leaders' commitment to providing them with the tools they need to do their jobs safely and effectively. Moreover, the impact of inadequate equipment extends beyond the battlefield. Soldiers who return from deployments with physical injuries or psychological trauma may require long-term care and support. This places a significant burden on families, communities, and the healthcare system. The true cost of unpreparedness is measured not only in dollars and cents, but also in the shattered lives of those who serve and their loved ones. Canada currently stands at a crossroads in terms of its defense policy. The geopolitical landscape is shifting rapidly with the rise of new powers, the resurgence of old rivalries, and the proliferation of non-state actors. In this complex and uncertain environment, Canada must make critical decisions about its role in the world and the resources it is willing to devote to its own security. One key debate centers on defense spending. Canada has long been criticized for its relatively low levels of military expenditure, which fall short of the NATO target of 2% of GDP. While there are valid arguments to be made about the need to balance defense spending with other priorities such as healthcare, education, and social programs, it is clear that Canada cannot expect to maintain a credible military force on the cheap. Another important consideration is Canada's commitment to NATO. As a founding member of the alliance, Canada has a moral and political obligation to contribute to collective security. However, this commitment must be backed up by real capabilities. If Canada is to remain a reliable ally, it must be prepared to invest in its military and to deploy its forces when and where they are needed. Moreover, Canada must also consider its own national interests, which extend beyond its borders. As a trading nation with global interests, Canada relies on a stable and secure international order. It also has a responsibility to contribute to global peace and security. This requires a robust military capable of projecting power, deterring aggression, and responding to crises.